There we go. There we go. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. My name is Stephen Rose. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager with Microsoft. I'm currently on what we call the Modern Workplace team. So I take a look at teams, especially security, governance, compliance, IT pro resources and usage. I've been at Microsoft for almost 12 years now. I started with in the Windows team. I launched the Windows 7 beta, Windows 8, Windows 10. I was on the OneDrive team, launched the rebranding and revitalization of OneDrive, and I've been on the Microsoft 365 team for some time. So I'm going to do a presentation this morning. I'm going to talk about some of the thoughts behind Teams, some of the new features and functionality that we've announced at Ignite, some things that are coming, and I'm going to open it up to questions. So let me go ahead and launch my presentation here and share all that out. So let's get started. Audio. Interesting. Oh, that's why. Okay, good. Include system audio, and let's launch that. So what's interesting is in the past 2 years, we've seen, in the past 6 months, we've seen years worth of digital transformation. Satya said we've seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in 2 months, and this was back in April, May. You folks have done an amazing job of doing the unexpected. You had planned to roll out Teams, you had planned to roll out new functionality in Microsoft 365, and instead of doing it over the course of several months, you did it in days or weeks because people had to pick up and start working from home and change. And I mean, wow, that's nothing absolutely short of amazing. Being a IT pro for 25 years before coming to Microsoft, owning my own company, consulting, I know how difficult that can be. So, you know, we've really been listening to your feedback during that time on what's worked, what hasn't, what works fine when you have 6 months to roll it out, but not 2. So we're going to kind of dig into some of that today.
Getting the right things done always starts with customers. Our sales organization needed ways to interface and still support customers. The Teams migration allowed us to effectively manage our business without missing a beat. In 2 weeks, we were able to roll out Teams to 70% of our 42,000 employees in the company. And within 4 weeks, we were able to roll it out globally. The fact that it had voice calling capabilities, to collaboration via video capabilities, all of which played a really critical role in helping us through a very challenging transition.
So great stuff from our partner CenturyLink. Work is changing. Work environments are changing. 82% of employees have said they expect to be able to continue to work from home post-pandemic, and that's dramatically going to change how we look at hybrid work environments. And some of the announcements we made last week about Teams rooms and touchless and things like that are going to be really critical as we look not only for folks to continue to work from, to come back into the office, but also as they start to come into the office from time to time and work, that they can have that level of safety and security. But people right now are going to be working at home, and the days of being able to say, well, we're not going to hire that person because they're remote, it's going to be very, very hard to make that case. Work-life balance is going to change. All of this is going to affect the hours that people are on our products, how they're using it, and how they're bringing things together. The other thing is that we're seeing a lot of fluidity, that the average workday is increased by at least an hour. At Microsoft, there's some interesting things that we've done. We've now said 60-minute meetings can't exceed 40, 30-minute meetings can't exceed 20. And in our division, our boss has given us Friday afternoons as a no meeting zone. That's your time to get caught up or run personal errands or whatever, but that you cannot schedule meetings during that time because they realized we were getting 5 days worth of work done in 4 days. Why? Well, we're not, meetings are back to back to back to back to back. We're getting fatigue from that. We're not walking in between buildings. We're not, going out for lunch and things like that. We tend to sit down at our desk like I did this morning at 7:15, and I'm not going to probably get up again until close to noon for a little bit, and then I'll be back on here until 4 or 5. And that's what we're seeing, people putting in much greater than an 8-hour day. Tech has to evolve. 60% of people, even with Teams and even with all the stuff, are feeling less connected, which is why some of the advances that we announced last week at Ignite are so important to help people feel more connected. But it's important as we talk about, well, we have Teams and all these cool ways for people to connect, that people are still feeling less connected. Microsoft Teams helps you come together with meetings and callings, chat, collaboration, and apps and workflow. All of you that are watching this today know that. That's not any news to you. What you may not be aware of is that we support over 600 apps that you already use within our ecosystem. We have had a ton of customers that have been able to make Teams the platform that they really do everything on. And that's important. We don't look at Teams as an app. We look at it as a platform between the partnership that we have with so many companies on their apps that you use every day, like ZenWorks or ADP or Disco or Adobe or Jira or any one of those, that it fully integrates and that you can do most of your work inside of that Teams platform, and then use things like Power Apps and Power Platform to be able to extend that workflow and the work that you're doing with others in new and different ways. So it's so important to understand that our big partners, SAP, Salesforce, Jira, Adobe, Cisco, WebEx, etc., are all supported beautifully inside of Teams, with more and more coming on board every single day. Modern work, the team that I'm on, we really look at how we can help customers with 3 key things, and that is, how do we better help you to enable secure remote work? How do we help you reduce cost and manage risk? And most importantly, help you and your organization to transform how you do and how you look at productivity. Our commitment, though, is always to privacy security by design in Teams. We look at things like protecting identity and information, data and cyber threats, and support for over 90 plus regulations and internal compliance. We want you and the customers that you support, that you work with, that you work for, to feel safe and secure. And things now like hold your own key and new encryption technologies that we've announced in the past few weeks are going to help you to do that to an even greater level. But being able to decide who from inside and outside of your org can get in immediately or wait in a lobby, the ability to use things like conditional access, all of those are incredibly important as you take a look at how you want to allow not just people to work securely, but to work with others securely. In June through August, we announced over 100 new security and management features, a record for us. We had been averaging, I think, about 15 a month. And like I said, in 3 months, we released nearly 100 with a whole bunch new ones that have been highly requested that came that we announced at Ignite that we'll be starting to roll out in the next few months. This includes customer key support, the Microsoft Graph API that you can now tie into DLP, bulk assignments and capabilities as you're looking at leveraging more PowerShell. Third-party app licenses, you can now manage them all through the Teams Administration Center. You can also add and install apps directly from the Admin Center. We have now custom App Store branding. You can now display devices categories in the Admin Center for those of you that are using Teams rooms or Teams devices. You can also have device management alerting when a device doesn't have a patch, when it's not working correctly, when it is having an issue, you can have it pop up for you. We've released Advisor for Teams, and sensitivity labels in Teams has now gone GA. So all of these are new features and functionality that we announced that will be coming over the next 90 days or so. Let's talk about some of the additional Microsoft announcements, and I will make time at the end of this presentation for questions. So if you have them, feel free to type them in and I'll go through them and answer them as best as possible. We talked about new Together mode screens. This is part of that 60% of people are still feeling very, very disconnected. So we really sat down and tried to figure out what are some new ways that we can create new look and feel of people sitting together. If you've been watching NFL games or NBA games, you've seen some of our new Teams modes and how we're doing that. But it really is to have you visualize sitting next to people, to be in more intimate environments. And that really helps people to create and work in New Year's. And you're going to see all of these coming out before the end of the calendar here this year. Custom layouts, this is huge. This is going to allow for a more dynamic content viewing experience. This is going to enable presenters to customize how the content shows up for participants during a meeting. So I can have a PowerPoint going behind me, something I wish I could do today. That'd be really great if you could see my face in the PowerPoint at the same time. And for me, as I'm presenting, to be able to see everybody and what they're talking about and doing. So I'm very, very excited about that. Breakout rooms, something that we announced a little while back, we're now rolling out, which is great. Breakout rooms allows you to take a large group of people and either pick and choose who goes into different rooms so that they can communicate, work on part of a project, and then come back to the large room, or you can just say split everybody up evenly. And as the presenter, you can move from room to room to room and check in on those folks and see how they're doing and answer questions. So it's great the way that you can sort of move and do that. Similar to if you were doing an offsite and you send everybody to their own table to work on part of an exercise, you can now do this. This is big, not just for education, but this is also big for corporate, for larger meetings, for get-togethers, things along that line. And I'm excited to see how people are going to start to use breakout rooms within Teams. Here's meeting recap. This will be at the end of a meeting. Right there inside the team, you'll get the recording, you'll get the transcript, you'll get the notes and any decks that were shared. This is going to make it very, very easy for you, either after a meeting, if you missed it, if you need to go back and review, to have all the things that you need attached to that in one place, or if someone else gets added to the team, that they're able to go in. Sorry. It's still pretty early here and I'm still drinking my coffee. I apologize. That they can go in and get all the information that happened. And this is great when not just somebody missed a meeting, but when you have a new team member that's joining a team, that they can go through, read through everything and get caught up to date pretty quickly. So meeting recap. We talked about our new webinar registration and reporting. Well, you'll be able to publish that, see who attended, what time they joined, what time they leave, if they engaged. So you'll get a full summary of that. That's something that a lot of folks have been asking for quite a while, and we're very excited to bring that. Touchless meeting experiences. We talk about capacity notifications for rooms, new Teams panels, and Teams meeting rooms are now part of Fast Track. So if you decide you want to get some of these new Link or Lenovo devices or upgrade some of your own with your own vendors to do that, you can take a look at some of these cool new capabilities that we're going to be bringing as people start to come back into the office and we move from remote back to a hybrid workplace. Some new calling experiences, the ability that you'll be able to add speed dial and block numbers, edit, remove, see all your speed dial numbers off to the right. So again, a lot of feedback that we got on how to best do that. The messages being printed up right there if somebody left you a voicemail. Collaborative calling, this enables customers to connect a call queue to a channel in Teams where users can collaborate and share information in the channels while taking calls in the queue. This is great for IT help desk or HR, where administrators can quickly connect call queues to specific channels or team owners that can then manage those settings. So really great to be able to see this finally come into the product. Info pane, pin posts, I spelled that wrong, I apologize, and new conversation buttons. This allows you to pin important posts the same way you can now pin Teams to the top. This is great for members you want to get up to speed or things that are evergreen that you want people to be able to see the moment that they come into a team. We talked about our new search experience that will search across all the teams that you're a member of. So if you don't remember, was it a chat? Was it a meeting? What group did we talk about time off? You can type that in and it will show you all the groups that you're a member of, all the times that that was announced, as well as any content that is part of SharePoint sites that could be useful and that pertains to what they're talking about, or links that were put into those chats. Wellbeing and productivity insights. This is also something new. I'm going to go ahead and press play.
It's a new world out there. We're commuting less, virtually meeting more. Separating work life and life can feel challenging. It's easy to forget that to thrive at work, we need to take care of ourselves. New well-being and productivity insights, powered by My Analytics and Workplace Analytics, are being integrated into Microsoft Teams. Personal insights help you stay at your best and most productive. Add structure to your remote workday by opting for a virtual commute, carving out time to have a productive start in the morning and mindfully disconnect in the evening. Schedule breaks before your calendar fills up, keeping you from getting burned out. Make the most of your mental breaks with Headspace, tapping into dedicated moments of mindfulness. Use emotional check-ins to tune into your and your team's day-to-day mindset and well-being. Strengthen team bonds with Stay Connected experiences that prompt you to praise collaborators, schedule one-on-ones, and follow up on pending commitments and outstanding tasks. Insights for managers and leaders from Workplace Analytics offer windows into how work happens and the impact on employee well-being. Identify where teams may be isolated and take action to break down silos. Quickly discover opportunities to prevent burnout, promote coaching and development, and boost engagement. You and your team's well-being is important, especially in times of change. Taking care of one another allows you to thrive and your organization to build resilience. Experience how new well-being insights in Microsoft Teams can help.
So that's our new well-being insights. And this is such an incredibly important part of the product. We are finding that, again, working from home, working in a hybrid environment has really thrown people off. I really miss my commute. That was my time to listen to podcasts, or I'd listen to volume on XM or whatever. I'd think about my day. I'd have Outlook read me some of my emails. It really allowed me, when I got into the office at 8 a.m., to be ready to go. And now, without that commute, just grabbing a cup of coffee and coming upstairs and sitting at my desk, I don't have that time. So helping people who that is really important, where they miss having that break, where they forget about different people they haven't connected with in a while that they would normally see in the halls, helping them have that conversation, helping them see that information is important. What's really important about that, though, as IT administrators, is for employees to understand that your individual information is not able to be seen by your manager. So they look at their organization or their team or their division as a whole, but they don't get to see you. You're the only one who gets to see your insights and your analytics. So it's very important that people understand that information is yours. They see it as an aggregate. They know, as a manager, if they have sent a lot of emails after hours, that their team is working an average of an hour and a half after 6 o'clock at night, and why, and that allows them to adjust their behaviors. But they don't see that you only had 2 meetings this day and 8 the other, and that sort of thing. They look at it as an aggregate. And it's really important that as you start to roll some of this functionality out, that they understand that it's personal and private, and it's to help them. It is not something that goes up to managers. So we talked about some of the new security features. We talked about some of the new ways to reduce cost by, leveraging apps that are already there and bringing them into that single pane of glass to create better productivity. Microsoft Power Platform at Ignite was also a huge double down for us. People have loved Power BI for quite a while. Power Apps for application development with low code, no code. If you've watched any of my Teams remote work series or my Microsoft 365 with Paul Thurrott series, it was really amazing to me when we were doing a show on Power Apps and Paul decided to sit down and build a Power App. He basically went into SharePoint and put a list of all the different alcohol and mixers he had in his house. And he's a developer. And he was absolutely blown away that within about an hour, without using any coding, he was able to build a mobile app that allowed him to see what drinks he could make based on what ingredients he had in the house. Or you could do it with cooking. This is what we have in the house. This is what we don't. He was absolutely blown away. And we've seen so many companies where the employees have said, I need to just tie into this data and I can find new ways that are going to help me to be more productive. Power Automate, which we'll talk about in a moment, and of course the new Power Virtual Agents. One of the cool things about Power Platform and Teams, like I said, is the way that it's bringing this all together and allowing people to work. So this was great. Pete had this on his website the other day and I stole it, but it's the new approvals report. So you can create a name for your request. You can ask for a request from all approvers. You go in, you add an attachment. This was something you had to program through a lot of steps in Flow, and now you can simply just click and it's there. And then what's great is Karan will see that Pete sent him a request. He can go in, he then sees that there's the design, he reads it, he approves it, and he's done. It is that simple, which is what's really great. We've added a bunch of new enhanced Power BI capabilities for Teams to allow you to better have kind of a mini CRM right there inside of Teams to better understand what you're working on, to look at those insights, and to be able to make and react better and faster. And then finally, we want to make sure that you have everything that you need to pilot, deploy, manage, and secure your new norm, and not just deploy software, but really drive adoption. So there's a few resources I wanted to share with you. The first is the virtual hub at aka.ms/virtual hub that we launched at Ignite. This is where not only the 80 main sessions, but 250 other secondary sessions, all of our MS Learn content, all of the new interactive guides that we released for Ignite, all the docs content, everything is, and we encourage you to go check it out where you can learn more and be able to go deeper into that 200, 300, and even 400 level content. Adoption.microsoft.com with a ton of great resources to help you drive adoption of key apps, including Teams, to your users. And of course, our newly updated, finally working, yes, go check it out, Microsoft 365 roadmap. We've completely relaunched it, and it is far more up to date and far more accurate than it was. And then, of course, giving you guidance at every step, Jeremy Chapman and his amazing Microsoft Mechanics series, our Microsoft Fast Track, which has tons of templates, guides, shell scripts, PowerShell scripts, everything that you need to get deployed. And many of you have free hours that you can use with Fast Track to have them come in and help you drive deployment and adoption. Our security assessment tool, and docs.microsoft.com, which is continually being updated as we release new features and new functionality. But most of all, again, I want to thank you, and we at Microsoft do, for partnering and trusting us to have your back in these unique times. And we were very, very excited to have you all there at Ignite. So let's take a look at some of the questions that we got. Here's some feedback. Echo, can you tell us more about the new Teams learning, this potential change learning and development? Haley, that is not my area of expertise, but if you have a specific question, I can certainly do that. I know that some of the new features and functionality allow you to hard mute your classroom, to be able to bring in the interactive guides directly into Teams, the fact that you can do all of your push out all of your daily assignments, be able to grade those, check those, and move from student to student are key pieces of this. But I can get some more information if you want to reach out to me on Twitter at Stephen L. Rose. I am more than happy to get you specific answers if you need. Yes, these presentations will be available as a recording. Is breakout room custom layouts meeting recap feature available in MS Teams free personal version? No. The meeting recap feature, breakout rooms and custom layouts is, breakout rooms will be available in EDU version. It will be available in the non-for-profit version, and our paid SKUs that will not be in the free and personal. Sorry, that question just disappeared on me. Okay, somebody answered a new one, which is fine. All right, give me 1 second. Let me dismiss a few of these questions just so I can not have this slide around on me. So give me a moment. The custom layouts will be, meeting recap feature is only in enterprise. So I do apologize, but that will not be to everybody. That could always change. We never know, things can come, but right now that's not the plan. Can you display Stephen presentation at the same time? No, but you will be able to. That was one of the things that I was talking about and showing, is you'll be able to have yourself up on the screen while the presentation's going. We have that feature internally at Microsoft. It should start to roll out in the next 30 to 45 days. You should see it by mid-November, and I'm very, very excited that I will be able to do that. Will annotation tools be available? Yes. Annotation tools are available. You can actually now get that full script at the end of your session without having to put it up to stream to do that. We also have full transcription features, and we are looking at translation features at part of that as well, which is super exciting. Oops, I'm not live. Hey, now I'm live. Wow, that was really weird that it just totally got rid of me. All right. Were you guys able to hear that and see me answer all those questions, or did that just all get lost? If someone could do it, great. Return on time is what I was referencing. Okay, I will take a look at the new learning app in Teams. That's great, Haley, and I do appreciate that. I'm sorry that I didn't realize I wasn't live. I thought I was being switched over. What other questions can I answer for you? Please ask anything. I'm really, really happy. We've got about 15 more minutes or so, and I'd love to answer any questions that you folks have at all on Teams or Microsoft 365, or things that are coming, or things that you're not finding, things that we could do better or different. Would love to know that. This is your big chance. Ask it. I've got my coffee and everything. Hello, it's just I was just able to join, but is there going to be a way in the future to require users to have 2 owners when they create a team, being that it's a recommendation? Yes, that is coming, where you can set that as a policy in your org, that if you do it, you either have to create someone by default, or it can be set where the the second person you add will be added as a default. So yes, that is coming. When will breakouts be available? It is actually starting to roll out now, but it depends. If you are in the first release, you'll probably start to get that in the next few weeks. If you are an enterprise release or your government cloud or EDU, it could take a little bit longer, because we release a feature doesn't necessarily mean you get it when we release it. It is how Teams is being administered and what ring you're on. So that's important to understand. But if you are first release and you're part of a first release ring and you're set up to get updates as soon as they come, you'll start to see it in the next few weeks. Will email be incorporated into Teams someday? That question comes up a lot. What we're finding is, and my answer is not at this time, but it's something that we keep looking at. And the reason being is we see those as very, very different conversations. We see Teams as a evergreen. This needs to stay. If someone comes into a group, what do we need to do to allow them to get caught up quickly, to be able to understand all the conversations that have happened? With email, that's difficult to do. Email tends to be a high. Is everybody aware of this? One of the best things I've ever heard was when I was on my last team, when we first came out with Teams. And actually, some of our folks, before we had Teams, were using Slack in our engineering teams. Then they moved to Teams. And I asked a question by email, and it took 2 days to get a response. And then I responded, took another day. So the bottom line was it took a week to get an answer. And I'm like, why does it take you so long to answer email? He goes, I don't use email. Email's how, and he's, by the way, 25, 26 years old. He said, email is how we tell people that there's cookies in the break room. It's not how we work and communicate. If you have a question for me, IM me. So went into the team, I IM'd him. He got me an answer. He brought in somebody else to finish that answer. It was done. There is a very different way for a lot of our younger workers to work, where if you have something, let's do it, let's deal with it now so I can move on to something else. I don't want to be consistently distracted. And they tend to leave email for the end of the day. They're very text savvy and text first. So bringing in email would convolute things and make it difficult for folks to do. I understand you're talking about Teams as a platform and doing it that way, but until we start to see, because we have 4 generations of workers from baby boomers on down working in the workplace at once. We have people who only use email. We have people who pretty much only use Teams, and then folks who are using a combination in the middle. So until that starts to change and we see that coming together differently, I don't think it's something we're going to do just yet, but it's something that we're always continually looking at, or how we better bridge that gap. Is there a way to merge teams? One downfall from rolling out in 2 weeks was less planning than we should have done. Yes, there are some tools where you can merge the SharePoint sites together, but right now, no, there is no way to merge teams. There are some third-party products that you can do. There are some PowerShell workarounds, but not a good way that I know of. And you are a perfect example on why that planning phase is so very important. So I get it and I appreciate it. Would I play a bass solo for you? Not right now. It's a little early in the morning for me. Who's my favorite bass player? Geddy Lee. Geddy Lee is my reason I wanted to become a bass player. There are a lot of other bass players that I absolutely love and have great respect for, but Geddy Lee was the reason you can see my Rush bass behind me. So thank you for noticing. Maybe later in the day, I'll go online or do something on YouTube with some bass stuff. Will there be a way to set and I appreciate that, thank you. Will there be a way to just set expectations for Microsoft Teams rather than having to set a policy for O365 groups? That's something that we're looking at. Is there a way just to do that? But the problem is if who's going to do that and at what level, it gets very difficult for administrator to look at every single team and choose that. And if users do it, are they going around M365 or O365 group policy? So it's something that we're looking at and we want to make a better experience. I would welcome your feedback and encourage you to go to user voice for Teams and see if someone has already put in some ideas and build upon that. Because at the start of every quarter, engineering sits down and takes a look at any user voice submissions that have over 1,000 upvotes. They take a look at those and they decide, is this something we're going to make part of the evolution revolution? And that's something important to understand, this evolution revolution. Evolution are the features that engineering does because it gives us, it's a natural progression from something we already have in the product, or it's an add-on to something we have in the product, or a new functionality for something we have, versus revolution, things that no one's doing that we're trying to do to make the product different and to open us up to new markets and give you new ways to work. So we look at user voice when we get to that point generally as a good part of that evolution feature. So I would encourage you to go to user voice and upvote that. Are there any considerations to make the settings and permissions also in Teams and not only for SharePoint? Yes, that is also something that is being discussed. Unfortunately, Hannah, and I appreciate you putting in your name, can't talk about that at this time, but it is something that we are discussing on how we might make that a better synergy. Will the new whiteboard features eventually be available inside of Teams Experience with Whiteboard? Yes, that is something that we're working on. Whiteboard is available as a separate app. We're looking at bringing it in. The big thing right now is just working through some of the technical issues on how we do that best. And then also there's some other functionality which we did talk about that's coming, where we'll automatically clean up your text and things along that line and record everything that's being done. So yes, you're going to see some cool stuff on Whiteboard, and we'll probably have, I'm hoping to have that GA or an announcement for GA with our spring Ignite conference. Is there another way to drag and drop docs from Outlook into Teams without having to move them to the desktop first? Yes, put them in OneDrive. If they're in OneDrive, it's super easy to do. If you have them in OneDrive, you can drag and drop and bring them all in first. So that is probably one of the best ways to do it. And then that way, all you have to do is you just click OneDrive, you see it. I use Known Folder Move, which takes my desktop, my docs and my photos and automatically moves it to OneDrive. What's great is I don't see a difference. Everything's on my desktop, everything's in my docs, but it's all in the cloud. It's all backed up in real time. And all I have to do is just drag and drop into Teams when I want to share something. It's super easy. Are there any considerations to make the settings? Okay, we talked about that one. Great. Exportation. I don't know what that is, but okay. Paul McCartney, agreed. Absolutely. Paperback Writer has one of the best little base riffy things that I know. Zoom is a foothold with users. Once these new team features are rolled out, can you have Zoom transitions to team sessions and learning? I don't have a good answer with that. I know that we have more daily users, more minutes, and more companies using Teams than are using Zoom. I know that we have a lot more consumers and small businesses using Zoom. So I think there's always, we have some great ways for you to take your Zoom content and bring that into Teams, but Teams also has all that additional functionality like Slack. So I think that's a great thing for us to do is, hey, if you're coming from Zoom, how do we do that? I know on our adoption.microsoft.com, we do have some content there around coming from Zoom. Here's how you did this in Zoom. Here's how you do this in Teams. So I encourage you to check it out. And John, if you don't find what you're looking for, ping me on Twitter, Stephen L. Rose, and I would love to hear from that. I'll pass it on to that team because I know Kira Wana, she's been a guest on my webcast many times, and she leads a lot of that, and that would be great feedback for her. So happy to do that. Hi from London. Thank you for joining us. Please send some Smarties. The Wellbeing and Productivity Insights is great and so important for remote teams. Is there any way that management can set like the commute to work time and lunch breaks for users so they're more likely to take it? No, unfortunately, not at this time. We can recommend it, but our boss basically said and sent out a blocker. And your boss could always say, hey, I'm going to block out your noon time for lunch. I'm going to send out a blocker. I'd like you to take it. I understand if you can't because of different reasons, but to do that or encourage people. You can't really tell people not to work at certain times, but you can recommend, and that's what's doing it. But like I said, I break out my lunch. I put a 12 to 1 o'clock lunch every day. It doesn't always happen, but it's great when it does, and it does give me that break. And the fact that my manager blocked out my manager's manager, Nicole, this is our GM. She blocked out from noon to 5 on Fridays as no meeting times. And that went out to everybody in the team. And that's what it says. And people are very respectful of it. So working with management to say, hey, you should block that out, or you should, we recommend that you do this commute time, that if you're going to know if your first meeting's at 9, we recommend. So having that conversation, doing it as a Yammer or doing it as a stream or doing it in teams with groups is a great way to have that conversation with people and understand why they can or perhaps cannot do that. I believe we are pretty much at time now. So for those who want to go to another session, absolutely go. I appreciate it. I want to thank you. For those who want to stay, if you have some more questions, I'm happy to hang out for another 10-15 minutes and answer questions. But thank you so much. Reach out to me directly. Also, if you can, I would encourage you to check out my my bi-weekly webcast at aka.ms, Teams-remote work. That's also on my Twitter platform. I did a Ignite closeout with Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. I had Aya Tang. Our next one, which is next Tuesday, is an AMA on security. So we encourage you to join us and send in your questions. Thank you, Haley. I appreciate that. No, thanks, everybody. This was great. I look forward to hearing from you and getting more questions from you and seeing how I can help you. Thank you. Have a great day. And like I said, I will hang out for a little bit in case there's some more questions.
Great job, Stephen. Thank you so
Thank you,
much
Russ.
for taking the time to present with us today.
Of course. Happy to be here. It was great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always great to see all the good stuff coming from Microsoft.
I'll get you a copy of that deck that you can publish, Joe. I'll get you a PDF of it later on today.
We'll do. Absolutely. We'll get it. We're putting everything out into the presentations channel in the team for everyone. So they can access it there and it'll be available immediately there, but we're going to probably publish it on the website also so that it'll be publicly available once our speakers and all have basically let us know that it's okay to publish everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just put that AKA link in the chat. Someone asked for it, but it is aka.ms/teams-remote work. So I put that in the chat. That's there, and you can check that out. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, and the link is in the chat. Well, like I said, Russ, I'm going to hang out for a few minutes in case anybody has any more questions, but thanks for the opportunity to present today. I appreciated it. Got a good amount of attendees hanging out, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was great having you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna let you hang out with everybody, and I'm gonna jump and take care of some other people.
Go to it. We'll talk soon.
All right,
thanks, everyone.
Thank you again. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it. Once the 2 owner policy is available, will it add another owner to a previously made team or with only one owner? No, it will probably not work. It'll be from that point going forward. The ETA we're looking at is we're hoping to announce it at our Spring Ignite and have it by spring. So that's something that we're working on. But when you have a new team, it'll say pick a co-owner, and that will be in case somebody leaves that team. But I don't believe there'll be a way. I don't know. Right now there isn't, but that could of course change by the time that we release it. So that's where we sit with that. But look for that in the spring. It may happen sooner, but I think we're looking at our Spring Ignite timeframe as a time to push out the first release of that. Any other questions for the 53 of you that are still hanging out? Oh, by the way, for those who are asking about Rush, there's all my little Rush dolls, and there's my Rush base. So cool stuff. All right, looks like everybody's peeling off. Doesn't look like I have any more questions. So thank you again. I'll put my Twitter link also in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to follow. And thanks again. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon. Much requested feature in our company. Good to know. Like I said, reach out to me on Twitter. Let me know who you are, and I will see what I can do. And if there's questions or someone from our engineering team would like to talk to you about it, I can certainly connect them with you. So let me know. Also, chat with your local MVPs, because they also meet with our engineering teams quite often, if you know any Microsoft Teams MVPs. Great session, Stephen. Big question is about giving users info about mixed mode. How to understand the different team user experience depending on what application, device, platform is being used. Help. The team's user experience should be the same from platform to platform and device to device. There are one or two small differences which we're getting caught up on with iOS and Android. The big difference is really when you have different people on different rings. When one company is part of first release and they get the cool new meeting layouts and views, and other people don't. Thank you very much. That's really where we run into things. I mean, I have an iPad, I have a Mac. I use all of these very often, and there's not a huge dramatic difference right now with those Teams experiences. Where I do see differences, oh, I have breakout rooms and you don't, and it's really because of the rollout schedule and the release schedule. So understanding what release you're on, looking at roadmap on what's coming and what's coming when is going to be critical. I'm also now seeing most of these features now on my iPad on iOS, and that's catching up in Android as well. So there's not a whole lot of change, and if someone's on the web version, of course, they're getting the latest and greatest generally. The big thing is understanding rings and which one you're at. If you want to dig in a little bit deeper, again, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I'm happy to have a deeper conversation if you have some specific things, but that's really where we sit right now. And like I said, I do spend a lot of time bouncing around and trying different platforms. It's hard to instruct users how to switch orgs. I have a great solution for that. I'm going to do a quick demo. So hang on, I'm going to share this with you. You're going to love this. Let's share hang on, give me a moment here. Yep, let me share my desktop. Can I share my desktop? Window, yes, right here. Okay, so here's what you can do and how you can do that. So what I recommend, oh, no, there we go. Okay, hopefully you can, it's not gonna let me see that, is it? Let's see, let's try that again, hang on. Let's do share, I'm gonna share my desktop. Awesome, so let's say I go to teams.microsoft.com. So what you want to do is go to a team. Why is it only showing the little corner? I don't want it to show the little corner. I'm trying my best here. Hang on. Let's try that one more time. Share. Screen one. There we go. Okay. So let's say you go here, you go to Teams, and let's say I'm going to go to a different team. So I'm going to go to, what team do I want to go to? Let's see, accounts and orgs, and I want to go to my Jerry Honeycutt team. So I'm going to log out here. This is a team that I'm a member of. This is the team I use for my webinar. You're going to love this. It's going to make your life much better. Once you get to this web page and you're logged in, here's what you want to do. You want to go to apps and you want to do install Microsoft Teams. You're going to go ahead and click that. You're going to go install. And now you're going to install that team as an app. What's great is you can now pin that to your desktop. But what's really, really awesome about that, and the thing that I really love, is I can now have a second team open. So I can go into my other team. So I could go here and bring that up and run 2 or 3 or 4 teams at the same time. So save it as an application, pin it to your desktop. You can see here down the bottom, I have 1 team and I have a second and even a third. So that is the best and easiest way. Plus you will get notifications when things come up, things along that line. So that is my absolute favorite and one of the best ways to be able to do that. So give that a good try, and that will work out really, really well. Hopefully that helps. All right. And again, check out our episode next week. We're going to talk about all of that. Candlelight and cigarettes. I like that. I'll check it out. Awesome. Thank you. All righty. I'm going to let you guys go because you need to get to your next session. This was great. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. It is coming up on 9 a.m., so I'm going to go get another cup of coffee and jump into some meetings. So thank you very much. And make sure to check out the virtual hub. Make sure to check out our webcast. Find me on Twitter. Let me know if you have any other questions. Have a great day and enjoy the conference. Thank you so much. I already do that with Teams instances already. Great point. Awesome. Glad that works out well for you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great conference, and thanks for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.